He slowly walks over the crest of the grass-covered hill. In the distance, he spots what appears to be a slice missing out of the ground. It is on the edge of a dip on the landscape, and it seemingly extends to the water. As he steps into the lowered land, he begins to realize a smooth downward transition as he feels the slight landscape encourage him towards the definitive cut in the earth. It is strong, it is straight, it is decisive. It makes him feel inferior to what is around him, yet he approaches it anyway. At this point, it is still not clear what it is. As he continues down the slope, he realizes that what he thought was just a slice in the slope is actually an articulate mix of reliefs and depressions along these two tall, parallel boundaries. Upon entering the long, wide space, he begins to look around to observe, and begins to question the essentials. What is this space? Where is this space? What is the purpose of this space? Immediately he feels the freeness of having a visual of the sky above him. The openness above leaves him more at ease as he begins to focus on his procession through. He proceeds to walk down the flat ground, constantly observing the surroundings around him and above him. He realizes that the further that he goes toward the articulate weave of depressions and extrusions, the heavier the tree coverage becomes. At this point, he is almost completely under the trees. He is also now presented with the first of a series of protrusions. They too are massive. They feel monolithic. They go from floor to the top of the wall. He decides that he will be persuaded to penetrate the threshold that they have created and become one with the open, glowing space on the other side. Upon entering the space, he observes a high, overarching cover, a path to get closer to this cover, and a central space that makes him feel welcomed, almost calling him over. As he approaches this welcoming, he quickly learns that he has fallen victim to the persuasive efforts within the space. He feels enlightened, however, because he now understands where he is and what the space is. He steps out of the area at a different point from which he entered. He is now completely under a dappled light coming from above, mostly altered by the natural overhanging trees and vegetation. He is surrounded by depressions and extrusions, which separate themselves so clearly from the monotonous slice in the earth. These depressions and extrusions are what is most interesting to him. They generate a faint sense of curiosity. To his right, he sees a hint of blue, perhaps water. To his left, he can see the point at which he entered the long cut of the earth that he has now become one with. He continues down the cut and steps into a new depression. Immediately upon stepping into the space, he notices the sunlight coming from the side, also filtered. He is attracted to this light, even though it is quite distant. He squints his eyes as he approaches it to get a better look. It is warm, it feels natural, it welcomes him. It encourages his participation into another threshold. Suddenly, he loses sight of the light, as his vision is refocused on what was previously just a memory. The hint of blue at the end of the cut of the earth. He follows this vision and becomes engulfed in his attempts at getting a better view. At last, he is deposited into a soothing, scent-manipulated area. His endorphins relax, his muscles lose all tension. He has now begun to experience the effects of the sound and sight of water on his mood. Ultimately, when he exits this experience, he will leave in a direction that he did not come from, back into the canopied area, followed by a free open area afterwards.